We're going to go ahead and start off with Tyrese Maxey, most improved player, plus 1,200. Talked about it before, but I'll give my kind of thoughts on it. So I noticed in the playoffs that when Harden was kind of starting to round into form with them, that the role that Harden was taking was more of a pure point guard, dishing sideways, out of double teams to force help, and then Maxey finishing at the rim. Maxey was the one that was leading the break in transition. And in preseason, you're seeing this increased role for Maxey. That's a harbinger of things to come. With this award, you want a team that's going to be really good. The Sixers definitely check that mark. Everybody believes that they're going to be, like, at worst, like a 49-win team in the race for the division, if not the outright winner with 55 or more wins. You need a player that's going to make a leap, not just to notability, but you need a player that's going to have real star potential. If Maxey becomes the legit second scorer on this team, if Harden takes more of a pure point role and Maxey comes in and does more of the scoring, that's the kind of jump that will get you there. He's going to have assists racked in there anyway, because he's going to run a lot of the second unit action when Harden's not on the floor, as well as in games where Harden sits. The upside with Maxey is incredible. He's a player that has earned his way into Doc Rivers' rotation. Tough to do for a young guy. And then has earned not only a role, but a key one. We combine that with how good the Sixers are expected to be, and you got all the recipe here, especially at 12-1. This is great value. That has actually become my number one play on the board. I have a lot on Anthony Edwards, who I think is a great choice as well, but my biggest position right now is on Tyrese Maxey to win most improved player. Second play, Bam Adebayo, plus 700 at FanDuel for defensive player of the year. There are some numbers floating out there I've seen that are a little bit longer. Make sure you shop around, as always. So I think Bam should have won last year. That's basically what this is based off, is that if Bam hadn't had the games lost that he did, and if Marcus Smart hadn't gotten just an overwhelming media push at the end of the year, Bill Simmons, Seth Partnow, The Athletic, all these guys just basically swarming to the unsustainable, let's be frank, unsustainable Boston Celtics defensive rating over the last 4 months of the season. I get it. They were incredible, and you got to reward somebody, and Robert Williams got hurt. So there goes Marcus Smart. Fine. Marcus probably needed one. That's fine. But if you're talking about the actual best defender in the NBA, Bam Adebayo, I think, is great value here. It's actually probably Draymond Green. I have bet him too at plus 1,400, but I don't know if Draymond's going to play enough games, especially given all the nonsense that's going on in Golden State in the preseason. With Bam, on the other hand, team's still going to be really good. Probably going to be a top 5 defense, experienced defenders around him. And Bam is the most versatile defender in the league. There will continue to be a push towards versatile defenders. There will continue to be a push towards, okay, sure, you can get blocks and rebounds in the regular season, but can guys attack your type of coverage? That's a problem that Gobert will have more and more as his career goes on. People know that you can attack him in certain ways and neutralize him. That's going to work against him. Not the same with Bam. Bam is the most versatile defender in the NBA at his position, and honestly, probably at any position. He can guard guards. He can guard forwards. He can guard centers. You can put him on LeBron James. You can put him on Chris Paul and switches. You can put him on bigs like Nikola Jokic. You can put him on anybody, and he will have some level of success, or at least do the best job possible. So for me, with where I expect the Heat to be defensively, for how important Adebayo is, and for the lingering recognition of what he did last year, as long as he plays more games, no serious injury concerns to think that he won't, I'll let Bam Adebayo plus 700 for defensive player of the year. And finally, wouldn't be me unless I gave you an MVP play. Look, I want to give you something long. And look, I bet Zion Williamson at like 3,600 on media day. I talk about all the time on this podcast. I build positions, right? Kevin Durant comes out and is scoring 35 points per game the first 2 weeks of the season. You can bet I'm going to be looking at his number drop, as it's 10-1 right now at FanDuel. I'll definitely be adding to these different positions. So you want to take a little bit longer positions. I have some of those. The best value on the board to me is Luka Doncic, plus 500 at FanDuel. There's 425s out there. Make sure you get this 500 at FanDuel. It's important. The biggest key here, and the pushback, is that Doncic is not going to win enough games with the Dallas Mavericks. And I understand that point. I get that. The question is, does that matter anymore? If Doncic puts up a historic statistical season and the Mavericks finish second in the division with 47 wins and a 6th seed, much the way or Nikola Jokic did last year, does that hurt him? I don't think so. I think that there might be a pushback towards winning this season. It's possible, but you better have a strong candidate. And I don't know if there's going to be a candidate stronger than Doncic. I'm expecting an absolutely ridiculous usage rate from Luka Doncic this season. I think we're talking like an all-timer in terms of how often he has the ball and the numbers he puts up. Talked about on the pod with both Brandon and Long Shots and on the stats prop pod with Joe Dallaire. You can listen to those in the feed. I bet Luka Doncic to lead the league in both points per game and assists per game at 3,500. Like, I don't think there's a limit. They're still talking about like Frank Ntilikina. They signed Facu Campazzo as a secondary ball handler off the bench. I am just telling you, Luka's going to have the ball all the time. All the time. And so for me, that combination of his reputation as a top 5 player, the recognition of how good he is, the fact that I think the Mavericks will go over their win total of 48.5, the fact that I think Luka will put up ridiculous stats, and the fact that the media loves him and wants to reward him. We faded him as a favorite last year. We thought this was a bad situation. He's in shape coming into the season. The Mavericks still have shooters around him, but he's got to take on a bigger role. It's going to be a Harden year. It's going to be a Harden year for Luka Doncic. That comparison is apt. And guess what? James Harden finished second MVP 3 years in a row. 4 out of 5. It's pretty good. That's exactly what Luka Doncic is going to be. So I like Luka Doncic plus 500 to win MVP. I have a full 10 units on that play to start preseason. That is my biggest position, and we'll go from there.